Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Cesar Rivas. I am the National Sales Executive for Sound Payments, specifically Sound POS. That's kind of my baby here. And today we'll be doing our regular monthly workshop. We hold these once a month, usually the second Wednesday of the month, the second Wednesday before the end of the month at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Um, Last month we actually did it on the last Wednesday because Juneteenth was a holiday, and we had to move it forward. But usually they're on the second and last Wednesday of every month. We've been doing these a little over 2 years. Really, the first 15 minutes is where I present any new material, new features. Maybe I'll focus on different kinds of merchants that will be applicable with our Sound POS solution. And then the second 15 minutes is a kind of a quick sales pitch. I kind of do the same thing for every workshop. So if you've already attended any of these, you'll know that really it's the first 15 minutes where you're going to gain any new information or any additional information. We do have all of the workshops recorded on our YouTube channel, Sound Payments. So please feel free to stop by and look at other previous workshops that we've done. Like I said, we've been doing these for a little over 2 years. Um, Now, here at Sound Payments, and with regards to Sound POS, we want to empower you, the reseller, uh, or the ISO, so that you can provide your merchants with whatever tools they need in order to run their business, so they can focus on the business itself and let you handle the part about inventory, payments, and so forth. Um, and now we do offer a broader range of onboarding and hardware. I know that when we first started, it was more self-service. Now you can continue to be self-service. You have all the tools available, but also we can actually provide you with assistance on the onboarding side. Today's workshop is going to focus on a coffee shop vertical. All right, and a couple of features that pertain to the coffee shop. One is, of course, the ability to manage a customer database with their personal information. And if you have any type of a loyalty program or anything like that, it's easy to follow that way. We'll be talking about our points-based loyalty program that comes with the system. Um, Also want to show you one of the units that we sell, the E800, is a really good unit for marketing purposes. So I want to show you what that looks like. We're also going to show you the ability to customize the ordering configuration for coffee shops, whether you don't want whipped cream, if you want small, medium, large, if you want, what kind of sweetener you want, and so forth. So you'll see that as well. And I'm also going to order something that's not, I'm going to cover something that's not necessarily part of coffee shops traditionally, but it is part of the customer database function, which is the ability for the merchant to provide account credit. Since we're going to be looking at the customer database, just wanted to cover that one aspect to make sure that you know that does exist. All right. So let's take a look first of all at the customer management component. All right. You can manage your customer, of course, on the back end. I'm going to go ahead and log in here, log into the store log into the store that I created, which is a coffee shop, obviously. We're going to be doing today, and this is our demo environment. One thing I did forget to mention, if you do have any questions, there's a Q&A component with Zoom. So please go ahead and write those at any time. I'll be looking at that constantly. All right. So here are all these demo stores. I'm going to look for the coffee shop one. All right. And then log into that store. All right. So you've got your customer database here. This is, of course, the web portal where you can manage it from here. Okay. 1 second while this pulls up here. All right, so you go to POS and you've got your customer maintenance here, where you've got all your customers listed on here. Okay, you can export actually your whole database in Excel. Or if you do have an existing database, if you have a merchant that has an existing database and they want to import that information, we do offer a template as well that you can utilize to import that for the new merchant. All right. And here you can manage, of course, loyalty. You can look at the account credit if they do have a account credit on here as well. Um, Also, we're going to look at it on the terminal side, okay, just to see what that looks like. Let me go ahead and pull it up, and I apologize, but PAX normally kicks me off if I'm not on here for less than 2 minutes. It'll kick me off. All right, so let me go ahead and I'm going to zoom in so you can see this a little better. Okay. So you've also got your customer database here right on the main menu. Okay, you just go in here, you go to customer, and you can manage your customers there as well. Okay. Um, and again, you can also add customers on on the fly when they're going to do the checkout. Now, one thing I like the fact that we can export our customers in Excel is that then you can go ahead and do a mail merge. The system doesn't have the ability to communicate directly with the customer as far as sending any type of messaging and things like that. But you do have the ability to export the customer information, right? Let's go ahead and choose on here. We're going to go ahead and export all the customers. And then you can do a mail merge. And the mail merge, the way that it works, if you're not familiar with that, you create a document in Word, okay? And then you tell it which fields from the Excel file you want it to read. So you can read the first name, the last name, and maybe their email address as well, okay? So I wanted to show you that ability. And then going back to the terminal, I just want to show you there are multiple ways in which you can query for a customer. Okay, now we're going to go to the sales screen so you can see. Okay, well, first of all, if you're ringing somebody up and they're not already part of your database, you can actually add them at the moment of ringing up. You got the customer function right here where you can query for a customer. Now you can query in various ways. You can query by the name, phone number, or anything you put in the notes, anything particular or unique that you put in the notes. Now the way that our query function works is that you put any string of characters that are included within the person's name. Okay. So for example, if I want to look up John Smith, I don't have to put John Smith. I can put, for example, John includes what? John. So I can just put HN, and any name that has HN in it is going to actually come up. So we got, oh, I don't have a John Smith. Let me see, what are the customers that I've got here? Okay. Let's just look up for the customers here all together here. Oh, sorry. Let me erase the H and the N. I said I thought I had a John Smith, but I guess I don't. What do I have under Smith? Oh, Anthony Smith. Okay. So just to show you, I'm doing the query real quick. Okay. So Anthony Smith. So you can actually do just a ON, right? Search, and it's going to pull up Anthony Smith because ON is a string that's included, of course, in the name. Also pulled up Mark Jones because it's included in there as well. All right. Or you can just go back, and if it is a customer that's not on your database, very simple. The system only requires a first or a last name. So once you input one of these two, the red asterisk for the other one's going to go away. Of course, we encourage that you get a little bit more information. Okay. All right. So that's as far as the customer database I wanted to show you. Now I want to show you a little bit about managing your loyalty points program. So again, it does come with a built-in loyalty points feature. Okay. And the merchant gets to choose how they're going to, or what the ratio is going to be between points earned and points actually needed for redeeming a prize. So in this case, I've got set that they receive 1 point per $1 and then 1 point's worth of pennies. So this is 1 to 100 kind of ratio. Okay, so they're getting kind of a 1% cash back, if you say. All right. Once that's that's available there, then you can actually go into the customer history and you can provide a manual adjustments. So for example, you can see the balances for the points here in these customers. You can say, hey, if you join a loyalty program, we're going to give you an extra 500 points. Okay. I'll go ahead and save and close. Okay. Now the person's got 1,011 instead of 511. So the system does allow you to manage that in that sense. So in terms of, loyalty points adjustments, these are done always on the back end. Now you saw that we also have the ability to pull up your customers here, and we're going to go out of the sales screen here and then go into the actual customer database. Okay. All right. So I'm going to pull up any one of these. I think Mark was the one I gave credit to. All right. We go to the account. Nope. It must have been then Anthony. So we go to the account tab. You've got all the personal information here up front. You go to the account tab, and I did give this individual $200 credit just so you could see what that looks like. Okay. They haven't really done anything. You can look at the history, of course. They haven't done anything with account credit, so you're not going to find anything here. but it does store the history for all time. Loyalty, you can see what they did. I did do a transaction. I used part of the points, and I actually made a purchase, so I actually earned 4 points, and then I gave myself 800 points at some point in time. All right, so I wanted to show you that there as well. Um, Now let's talk a little bit about the marketing part that I mentioned for the E800. Okay, so the E800, if you've seen that machine previously, it's got two screens, right, that are facing the client. Because you've got the E700, of course, that's got only one customer-facing screen, and then you've got the E800 that's got both two customer-facing screens, right? So when we look at we pull up the E800 spec sheet so you can see what that looks like. Oh, sorry, that's the 800. A800, E800 spec sheet. Here we go. Bear with me 1 second here. Okay, so I'm going to actually pull up the screens here. So you got these two customer facing screens. Okay, one is for the payment device, and then the other one is a secondary, pretty big screen. So the opportunity we have here with this device is that when the machine is in idle mode, meaning that it's not ringing anything up, okay, the merchant can load up to 5 different images here that are going to be idling, that are going to be looping. All right, so for example, you got this one here. Maybe the second one is an actual logo, could be also an offer, something else like that, right? So once you go into a purchase, though, now this secondary screen is going to change. It's going to show you the items that are being rung up, but the merchant also has the ability to load 5 different banners here on the right-hand side to continue to provide marketing. So, for example, this could be one marketing. This could be another, for example, if you're going to promote your loyalty program. All right. So, again, I think it's a pretty good, a feature in terms of the merchant being able to promote their own products, their own services, or maybe even sell some of the marketing, depending on how much foot traffic they have. All right. All right. I'm going to switch over now. I want to show you with regards to order configuration. Okay. Our system has so many features you can utilize specifically for, coffee shop. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and log in as a specific customer. Let's say I'm going to take Olivia Trotter here. Okay. Now I'm under her profile and I'm going to order hot coffee. So when I choose, cappuccino, for example, it's going to ask me what kind of milk. You got to choose one of these, right? So I'll say, all right, I want almond milk. It's going to ask me for the size, of course. And depending on the size, you can see the override price is going to change, right? So we'll say medium. Then it comes with certain toppings, right? Maybe it comes with whipped cream, so she doesn't want whipped cream. And then you've got some additional things that you can add, like the sweetener. So like she wants, for example, 2 brown sugars. Okay. So the system does allow you to customize each order so you can add attributes and modifiers and so forth. Okay. Now with Olivia, if I go to pay, okay, and I did want to use my loyalty points, okay, if I choose loyalty, the system will tell me how many loyalty points I've got available and how many points it's going to take me to cover that expense. Okay, and as you can see, I can definitely cover the expense, right? $4.99. So I go ahead and pay. Okay, the system, remember, does allow you to customize the receipt. So I'm not going to print the receipt here because you're not going to be able to see it, but I'm going to go to the store portal and show you the receipt on the actual transaction. All right, so I'll go to report, go to transactions, and you'll see that Olivia Trotter transaction here. Now we can pull up the receipt here. Okay, and you can see what that receipt looks like in terms of customization. Okay. All right. Now, of course, it doesn't look in color, but it prints this out in black. Looks really nice. All right. So that's pretty much it in terms of, how you can utilize our POS specifically for coffee shops. We are looking at perhaps offering another type of loyalty, which is the stamp card loyalty. Okay, that would not be included. The loyalty points is already included on our POS version. But we are looking to maybe add a stamp card, which would be something additional. It would come for a price, but we're still kind of in the final stages of working on that. All right. All right. So with that, again, these are the features that I wanted to talk about today with regards to this merchant. So now we're going to go on to the second portion of the presentation, the workshop today. All right. And look, that is the 1-800, the E800 precisely. You've got the two screens here on the back that I showed you previously. So if you're not aware of who we are, we're not a processor, we're not a gateway, we're not an ISO. We only develop software for the payment services industry. So we got multiple solutions, of course. We're out of Jacksonville, Florida, and we've been in business for over 7 years. The POS has been around for a little under 3 years, so got about, I think, 1,000 to 1,200 merchants that are out there. Um, it's cloud-based, meaning that it has all the data backed up on the cloud. It also stores it locally on the terminal, but it also backs it up on the cloud. This way, if you have multiple terminals, you'll be able to start transaction in one, finish in the other, or do a refund on another terminal where the transaction was initiated and things like that. Of course, if anything breaks down, any terminal breaks down, it's very easy to replace. You got multiple ways and which you can track inventory, for example, by the attribute, by the item itself, by an ingredient. You saw that with the employees, you can actually restrict access to different functions, and also has a time card feature. And I'm sorry, you did see the customer's database, so we can store all their personal information, and then you have those two modules built in, which are the loyalty points plus the credit account. The sales tax can be configured individually for each product, so you can have different sales tax for different products. It's always synchronizing the transactions. You saw how quickly I ran the transaction on the POS and went back to the web portal, and it was already there. And our web portal is not app-based; it's a browser-based web portal. So any browser will work, whether it's Google Chrome, Safari, or Microsoft Edge, and of course any device that can run a browser, such as a tablet or a smartphone, will also work. And they've got a pretty broad range of reports. You got reports that are specific to the terminal, and then you've got other reports that are specific to the web portal that are in Excel and PDF format. I'd say that it works with any major processor. Right now, we're working exclusively with PAX, but we're going to be adding a few more: Deja Vu, Valor, and Nexco in the coming weeks. Because it's again cloud-based, the deployment makes it easier and faster. You can ship the terminal without it being configured, and then configure it on the back end. So once the merchant receives a terminal, they'll just turn it on, connect to the internet, and within 15 to 30 minutes, they should be up and running. And of course, this also is positive in terms of updating software, firmware and things like that, because it doesn't cause major disruption for the terminal. It's all done remotely. These are some of the screenshots on the left-hand side. You can see the actual POS. You saw the left bottom image, which is the E800, or any countertop unit will look like that. But then it also runs on handheld units, such as the A920 or the A77, and that's what you see on the top left here. So the screen has to be organized a little bit differently, since it's not horizontal mode. All right, it's actually in portrait mode here. You've got also your screens here for your web portal. This one on the top is for a computer screen, and then on the bottom is what it would look like on a smartphone. The devices all run Android, all come with battery backup. So even the countertop ones, the battery goes out, the power goes out, it's not going to just turn off. Now, it doesn't have a very long lasting battery as far as operating on battery, but long enough to finish a few transactions if the power goes out. Of course, your handheld units do have a very strong battery, usually longer than 24-hour standby, and you can connect via Ethernet for the countertop ones, Wi-Fi for all of the terminals, as well as 4G. And the countertop ones all come with dual terminal screens, not the handheld ones, obviously. But the handheld units have a full version of the POS. It's not a watered down version. So you can do anything on the handhelds that you would do on your countertop. I'd say it can work. It's very flexible, very customizable. So it works pretty much in any area. With the food industry, I would say maybe a little bit of an exception there, with like full service restaurants, maybe bars. But it does work really well with quick serve, fast food, food trucks, storefront like a butcher or an ice cream place. And then retail works really well as well. It works with almost any area. I'd say the only exception in retail would maybe be beauty salons, because a lot of them require to have a reservation module integrated to the POS. If that's not a requirement, though, as you can see, there's a lot of ways that you can customize the POS to work for a beauty salon as well. Um, the system comes with 24/7 merchant support, so the merchants can call a number. It's right here in Florida as well. Any day of the day, any time of the day, any day of the week, of course, to provide support. We do provide the merchants with a kind of a one-stop shop type of web portal, just a resource sound hub, so they can get user guides there, get material, answer questions and things like that, order equipment, schedule training, individual training for your merchants, a series of things that you can do on there. We do provide, of course, app firmware and updates. We are our own developer, so we're constantly adding features. We love to hear from resellers as far as features that they feel would be required in order to continue to be remain competitive. We also do provide advanced level reseller support. And our implementation team, if you want us to train your team to implement or do the boarding, or if you want us to handle, we have a very experienced team that manages all of that. All right. So with that, again, if you want to take a look at the previous workshops, feel free to stop by our YouTube channel, Sound Payments. Um, Thank you very much for participating today. Didn't see any questions come up today. But if you do have any additional questions, you've got my email right there, caesar.r@soundpayments.com. Okay. And I'd be more than happy to respond to any questions that you may have. So with that, thank you so much and have a great rest of the day.